Show. streamlined. You're trying to escape from here, aren't you? I want to see how far you can make it before your head is chopped off.
Hello and welcome to round number 4 of the National Capital Chapter BMW Sports Car Club of America race, round number 4 from Barcelona. So, as has been previewed many times in the post-race interviews, we are here tonight once again, and we're at night. It is the evening time if you're in the US. So we've got cars out here, got a intimate field here, 16 cars here tonight. Gonna be heading for about a 30-minute race. Should be a good one. We ran this track back in season 1 that I covered here, at least on Race First. This was the October Fast season is what I believe it was. And we ran the BMW Z4, possibly if you're from the European side of things. But that's where we're at. We currently have familiar names, top 4, although one of our names is kind of a new one there. We've got Steve Ficacci there in P1 as he is out on the track. Different livery this week for, I guess this is the night livery, because he usually runs a black and kind of neon green livery. So that's good for us tonight. As we have the precision racing instruction car of Chris Hill currently goes to the top of the chart, provisional pole, and then on to Stefan Vapa. So this is one of the new drivers we were talking about. Started here in the season, about, let's see, maybe 3 or 4 races. I guess first race of the new season is what it is. We're on round 4 now. So, and then we've got familiar name Darren Treakle. And I guess we can think about somebody taking us around here shortly now that we're talking about sponsors, things like that. Brian, I saw Kennedy in 5th. I saw you reset. Peter there. Colin Kortanik in 7th. Barry Buchanan there in 9th. Currently running in a strong 9th position. Barry here was listening to the interviews quite intently the last couple weeks, and before Scott, our admin, had announced that this was definitely going to be the night race, he was already practicing it, so he's ready to go here tonight. And then speaking of admins, we have Scott Kim there in P10. Aspen Belvin, the Intimidator there in P11, sitting on the pit lane. New driver here, at least hasn't run that much with us. This car has a pretty wild paint scheme. Livery is Jesse Brannon. He's trying to give us some like 3D effect there. We have Jakub Bielik there, crafting for a Cure car. Perry Duncan in P14. Stephen Tenney, P15. Bobby Blankenship there. And we are missing one car that set a lap. I want to work on Dean's name, but we'll get back to him. Let's go on board with Stefan here. Have him take us around for a lap here. Let's wait to start calling corners until we've done a complete lap. Ooh, and he loops it. Hopefully he keeps it going. Commentator's curse there. We have about 2 minutes left to go in qualifying. We've got Chris Hill. Oh, he's going to duck off, so he's going to lose his ability to have the lap. So we'll go on to Treakle here. Do a lot of onboards with Darren. It's about halfway through the lap here. About 1:40 is our delta, or not our delta, but our car time here, provisional pole. So this track is pretty famous in the Formula One circuit. So that's what we're running. I think a lot of drivers know this track just from seeing it on TV. This, I might call it the bus stop here tonight. It is not called the bus stop as far as I understand, at least according to my track map, is not. So this is the final curve. And then you can see a long straightaway here is heading up to a right-hander on board here, but Darren Treakle is going to take us around into turn 1. You can see that sky. That sun is going away quickly. It'll be dark by the time the race finishes. Turn 1, we're finally there. Quickly through turn 2. Then into turn 3 is a long right-handed kind of carousel section. Heading up to a hairpin. A lot of tracks would say a hairpin's a really good passing zone, but it's not the best one here. Maybe in these cars, but not in the Formula One cars. That's the Repsol hairpin is turn number 4. Heading on to turn 5 now. Through turn 6 and 7. Quick one is turn 8. Kind of just a kink there. Fast corner turn, right-hander, fast sweeping right-hander, turn 9. And then we're coming up to a corner called La Coxia. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it is turn 10. Probably one of the better passing points. Oh, and Darren goes off, and he's not going to be able to finish that lap. So he only made it to turn 10, halfway to 11. We had 5 more corners to go here. See if anybody else can take us around here. We might continue if we can find somebody that's around, because qualifying has come to an end. We're going to have 2 minutes to allow anybody to finish their laps out here tonight. Shout out to any viewers out there. We've got some fans of Barry Buchanan out there. They've been quite vocal the last couple of weeks, and we'll be getting Barry some screen time because of that. That's the secret. Is when you say a name in the chat, that's how you get your driver on the camera. So we, even if they're not in the middle of a battle, we'll give them some extra screen time for that. Is Stefan here? Steve, smoking his tires. Let's go back on board with Steve here. I think he was coming up to. No, he's still on his lap a little bit. I'm trying to get back to where we were when Darren called it a day, and then we can finish this up. Unless Steve here also calls it a day. All right, we're going to be coming up to what was turn 10, left-hander, heavy braking point. Probably the slowest corner. This whole section is very slow on the track compared to some other ones. So this is finally, we made it to turn 11. This will be at turn 12. Kind of a hairpin, but not really. I would consider a hairpin as having heavy braking into it. This little bus stop section that I was calling before is turn 14. This is 15, and then finally, and he's not going to take it for us, but out on the left there was turn 16. He's going to pull it into the pits, though. So that is where we're at. Let's do a shout out. Get all these names in here. We'll do it at some point during the race, but we've got SEO Mike, we got Beltway Brewing Company, and Treakle Insurance. SEO Mike's come on board this season. So they specialize in organic search engine optimization, and they've been doing it since 1997. So the last 24 years, they've worked with over 4,000 websites, and they increase, in a variety of industries, and they increase like growth of traffic, sales, and revenue for all these companies that they work with. So that's pretty good. And then we have Beltway Brewing Company. And they're located in Sterling, Virginia, and they proudly represent their DMV. You can check out their lineup of unique IPAs, lager sour stouts, and seltzers. And they also have flights and empanadas by Peruvian brothers now in their tap room. And head on over to their social media for all things Beltway. Look at beltwaybrewco.com, and you can follow social medias at Beltway Brew Co. on the social medias. I think I need to get on that. So let's get our grid going here. We've got Chris Hill there in P1, Steve Ficacci P2, Stefan Vapa P3, Darren Treakle P4, Brian Kennedy P5, Peter Lanik P6, good run there for Peter. Colin Kortanik in P7, and our fresh name here, Dean Tulane. I've been saying incorrectly for the last however long. He finally corrected me this week. Barry Buchanan there in P9, Scott Kim P10, Aspen Belvin. Probably my favorite name is Aspen Belvin. That's a cool name. In P11, Jesse Brannon in P12. The pace car pulls away. Yakov Bielek P13, Perry Duncan P14, Bobby Blankenship the third P15, Stephen Tenney in P16. Missing a couple drivers tonight. I'm going to say Stover is missing tonight. Hendrick we haven't had all season. I know he's been busy with work, but we're going to have a short pace lap here, and we're going to get things going real fast. Pace car ducks in already. No lights on that pace car, I just noticed. Ooh, a little checkup back there at the bus stop I saw. Chris Hill brings us down. Slow start, but here we go. Down to turn one they go. These guys love racing in the nighttime. Let's keep it clean. Side by side is Hill, and Ficacci's going to make it around. Darren Treagle's made it around. Vapa there for P3 as well. Lanik is up a position over Kennedy. Hill's looking inside. Thinks better of it. And there goes Barry there, and P9 maintains his 9th position from starting position. Hill's going to want to quickly get back to the lead here, going on board with him. You know, you kind of, while these tires are fresh, you want to make up that position, get around him. We know Hill is the fastest car out here because he had the, he had the pole. But being the fastest and being able to pass somebody is really tricky. But makes these guys the big bucks out here. And through this final corner, we didn't get to look at that one on the track mech. That is, and Hill has a really good run here. Ficacci goes a little defensive for a moment. Side by side they go into turn one. It's not over, though, as they head in turn one. Hill has the preferred line through turn one, but Ficacci can have the preferred line in turn two. But Hill, now into turn three, has the preferred line. Ficacci has to go a little bit wide. Great racing side by side through that carousel corner. Still side by side they go. Now into the Repsol hairpin. A little bit of contact, door bang in there. And Ficacci maintains that position. Meanwhile, while these guys are battling, oh, we've got Ficacci going off into the wall a little bit. We'll get a replay of this. Be careful getting back on the track there. Awesome battle. Too bad that he went off the track. So side by side we went. A little bit of door banging, as I mentioned, and I believe Ficacci just ended up breaking himself into turn 5. Locks up those brakes. We don't have ABS on these BMW M8 GTEs. No contact, though. I thought there might have been contact, but there is no contact with that barrier there. Good job by Fikachi getting back onto the track. So it's going to be exciting to see him. He's back to 7th. A little bit of contact with Portanic there. And that blue car, you can see we're still light enough that you can see that's a blue car. Now, at the front, we've got Darren there in P2. Lanik up to P3. Excellent job by Peter Lanik, starting 6th. He's made it around Stefan Vapa. Barry battling with Aspen Belvin. Barry dropped a position. Oh, getting some, like I was telling you, Aspen Belvin with that Intimidator. He's using a little bit of that chrome horn, that front bumper. Giving a, oh, and see there, he had to check himself there and loses it under braking. That Intimidator livery not being the best for him here today. You're supposed to, with that livery, you're supposed to take out the guy in front of you, not spin on your own. So, well, not on your own, but you're not supposed to spin behind the guy anyway. Anyway, no damage there on Barry's rear bumper. Good to go. Heading back up to the front, though, is this battle between Hill and Treakle. These guys, familiar foes out here, sportsmen drivers. Excellent race so far. 5 minutes have gone through, about 25 minutes to go here. We're estimating the total race time to be about 18 laps, so we'll keep an eye on that. So Darren Treakle out here. Going on board with Darren. I'll do a quick shout out because I didn't get to him earlier, but we've got Treakle Insurance. And so Treakle Insurance is an independent insurance agency offering auto, home, business, and life insurance. And they teamed up with Hagerty Insurance to provide collector car coverage as well as race car and track day coverage. And you can check out, as we just had some action there, treakleinsurance.com. So we missed something because we're reading off that stuff there. So let's get a replay of that. So Hill is going to make a mistake. Hill goes wide, has to go over those sausage curbs. Let's go look at that one more time. In fact, let's go on board. This is in turn 1. He goes a little wide, but watch out for these sausage curbs. Ooh, you're going to like going over a speed bump, and Treakle takes the lead. Great job there, Darren, keeping it on track, and these are live pictures. That is Lanik in P3. Vapa there in P4, having lost a spot to Lanik. Kennedy there in P5. Fikachi right on his bumper. He's coming back up through the field. This car is ready to go. We do have one car out. Showing us out is Bielik has pulled it off apparently. So I'm not sure what happened to him. Might be able to search through this and figure out what happened. Let's see here. No, that couldn't find anything. Meanwhile, Darren's kind of checked out about 1.5 seconds over Hill there. Really good battle between Vapa and Lanik here. Vapa is just staying right on that bumper just about, trying to force Lanik into a mistake. Fikachi has gotten around Kennedy. And we've got Cortanic currently in that interview position that we call. And here we go. Dean Tulane, he's in the SEO Mike car, one of our sponsors that we mentioned earlier. And again, he corrected me with his name. I hope I'm getting it correct. Scott Kim there in P9. Scott's going to be wanting to get up a couple positions, up to that 7th position to get that interview going. Barry Bocaner there in P10. Aspen Belvin battling with Bobby Blankenship. Keep an eye. Sorry, I cut away from Belvin there. This is the closest battle on the track other than Lanik and Vapa. I head back to this battle between Vapa and Lanik. Meanwhile, Darren up at the front is actually checking out a little bit over Hill. He's about 2 seconds ahead of Hill at this point. Vapa nearly getting into the... Oh, and now we've got Fikachi catching up to this group, so we've got a great battle for that podium position. We've got Kennedy there in 6th. That's just kind of waiting for this to materialize in front of him. Anything could happen. He could be on that podium as well. Currently fastest lap of the race is between Treakle has that fastest lap, but Treakle, Hill, and Fikachi are all within thousandths of a second for that fastest lap. Meanwhile, Lanik's kind of pulling away a little bit there over Fikachi. Oh no, sorry, Vapa got around Fikachi. See if we can get a replay of that. We weren't really focusing on that too much. That's Fikachi in the middle there. He gets a little bit hot into turn 1. And then Fikachi's going to make the move up here, I think. Through this kind of carousel corner, turn 3. Gets the preferred line into the Repsol hairpin. And makes that move. We're getting things back to how they were at the start, but Lanik is going to fight hard for this one. He wants this podium. Side by side through turn 1 they go. There might have been a little contact there between 2 drivers, but both keep going. So Fikachi is in that 3rd position now. So this battle at the front, it did come down, but it's extended back to 2 seconds now for Hill. Really tight battle for the points also in this field. Darren wants to get a win here. We've got Fikachi and Hill both have some wins this season. And Treakle's wanting to get in on that here too. So gonna have to keep it clean. He's gonna have to do his pit stops as best as he can. Looking at closest battles on track, we've got Kennedy there about a second back from Vapa, but then Hortanic there is about, well, it was originally, it's at 8/10 of a second at this point. We crossed over the moment where we're about halfway through this race, and it's estimating that we have about 10 minutes left in the race to go. Britannic about a half a second back off of Kennedy there. Kennedy feeling the heat. But at the same time, Vapa up there is also feeling the heat. Lanik in P4, not too far ahead of this grouping either. So really a great battle from 4th to 7th, though. SEO Mike Car, Dean Tulane, there is in P8, about 6 seconds back from P7. Scott Kim in P9. Barry Bocaner there has caught up to Scott here, so a battle developing between these cars. And you can see, let me quickly have a look here. You can see it's getting darker and darker here from Barcelona, Spain. Go on board with Barry here. It's got Kim ahead of him. This was through turn 10. Oh, getting a little bit of wheel spin there. It was Barry through turn 11, 12. Those rear tires struggling for grip. Scott Kim up there has a better launch off that final curve. Jesse Brennan battling with Perry Duncan back here. I think that Perry had an issue there. Looking at this battle for really the 4th to 7th position, I saw Brian there going a little bit wide, getting some tire into the gravel, but gravel's okay. It's the grass that can be a problem. Britannic lurking in 7th behind Brian. Chris Hill has caught up to Darren. He's had a pretty good last couple laps. In fact, that last lap was Hill's fastest of the race, the best lap of the race by anybody, as we have Lanik has hit pit lane. Get a look at him. There we go, in the pit lane, making his scheduled stop. Hill's really put on the pressure here this last 2 or 3 laps. Battle for the lead has developed here. So I mentioned it in the pre-race. One of the big differences between these cars and the GT3 M4 prototype that we ran last season is these cars don't have ABS brakes. So that's why you've seen a lot of cars lock up their brakes in the corners here and overshoot the corners. You got to modulate that brake with no ABS, so they lock up. Anti-lock brakes, they don't have them. Just up to the driver and his, well, depending on the driver, his left foot or his right foot. I'm a left foot breaker myself, but a lot of these drivers might be right foot breakers if they're using that clutch pedal. In the real life, as we had a little bit of dust getting kicked up by Treakle there. 0.4 of a second between Treakle and Hill. This battle is on, and it's going to come down to pit stops, I think. Hill right on that bumper. Okay, we've got Brian Kennedy and Cortanic in the pit lane. Kennedy just coming out. Lanik will be coming by. Maintains his position over Cortanic and Kennedy. Two-tenths of a second between Treakle and Hill. It's going to be tricky if they both decide to pit on the same lap. Hill's going to have to be careful not to run into the back of Darren here. Let's go on board with Hill here. 10 minutes to go in the race, about 7 laps. I don't think it's going to be fully 7 laps, though. It'll be 5 or 6. Pikachi's about 7 seconds back from this whole thing. They both decide to stay out another lap here. Quickly having a look at Belvin and Kim battling here. Gotta be careful using that front bumper on the admin here, Aspen. So let's, is he, I wasn't sure if he was using some wheel spin, but he decides to opt for the pits there. Okay, we'll see. I have to imagine this pit stop for the leaders has to be coming up really soon. They're waiting for whichever driver is going to blink first, but I think they're going to both not blink and both end up pitting at the same lap. And then it's going to be a race of the RNG, random number generator gods out here, and we'll see what happens. Let's hope that the battle remains on track, though. Darren Treakle in the Treakle Insurance car. Chris Hill in the Precision Racing Instruction car on board. And Darren opts for that pit, and Hill is going to stay out. So now this is go time for Hill. Hill's got to put in his best lap of the race, really. Really good in lap. He's got to be pitting this time, I have to imagine. But again, it was good that he didn't decided to not pit that time, because he would have been checked up by Darren into that pit section there. Mikachi and Vapa still out, as is Tulin. Oh, and Vapa goes off and contacts the barrier as well. Getting a quick replay of this. Right before his pit stop, too. Just getting into that kitty litter and into that barrier. Throws it in reverse, gets it back on the track. So, keeps it going. Back looking. So, Darren will have come out of the pits, but we're going to be looking. Hill's going to end up pitting here momentarily. And we'll see where he comes out when he does. And we'll watch Darren where he's coming from. Here he comes. Hill into the pits. Now we will watch Darren. Has to slow up for that pit speed limit cone. Darren had a 6.4 second stop. That's a really good stop. Really fast. That's the fastest of anybody out here. Hill is in his pit box right now. Hill is done with a 6.6 second pit stop. Coming out. Hill's already in turn 1, so he's jumped him. The overcut works for Hill. He's plenty ahead. I don't know what happened there. They both had similar pits. So that lap for Hill, that overcut lap that he did was just as he locks up his brakes, though. Whoa, that was something. They don't have cold tires because they don't change their tires in these pit stops, but there was a moment there for Hill there. Currently, Stefan Vapa there, because of that off, he's in that transfer position, or sorry, not transfer position, but the interview position. Checking out if we have any other battles here. Cortanic and Vapa is a battle. Yeah, Darren's back about 2 seconds over Hill. I know we had the Barry fans out here. Barry has dropped a couple positions. Bobby Blankenship there is, that car ahead of him is in 11th. So we'll see if Barry, as Scott Kim had some tire smoke there. Keep an eye on this lead back, though. You never know what could happen there. This Barry Blankenship battle is the closest one on the track. Let's go on board with Barry. Get these headlights so we can actually see something out here. I think that Bobby gets a little bit better exit of that final corner than does Barry. But the rest of the lap, I think that Barry is able to catch Bobby a little bit there. Dust getting kicked up, I believe, by Scott Kim up there, a couple positions ahead. Heading away from this battle because we've got some action up here of Vapa and Cortanic. Puff of smoke, tire smoke there. As Vapa right on Cortanic there. Cortanic's going to go a little defensive down the middle of the straightaway here. Kind of gives Vapa the option. Which way does he want to go? He's going to go inside into turn one. Side by side through turn one they go. And Vapa has that 6th position, putting Cortanic in that 7th position. Barry's caught back up to Blankenship again this last lap. We're saying 2 laps to go here. We'll see if that is correct or not. Barry's 0.3 of a second back. More dust getting kicked up there. Barry had to look inside. Not quite there, though. And again, we're not missing anything because this is the closest battle on track. Okay, we're calling this as the final lap. Hill just went across the start-finish line. He's in turn one. Barry, this won't be Barry's final lap. This is, he's got a lap and a half to make this move work. He's making it, using all the track there, going over the cones. Want to look at our leader here. Final run around, white flag for Chris Hill. I'll check back before the start finish line for Barry and Blankenship where they're at. Papa just got around Kennedy. About 1.5 seconds between Darren and Hill there. So Darren did bring it down here at the end. But not enough laps to go. The Hill's going to come around, take that checkered flag. Treakle will be second. And we're going to be checking back this battle between Barry and Blankenship. They've still got about 1/2 lap to go here. You can see that brake temperature really hot on those front rotors of Bocaner's car. Barry kicking up the cones once again this lap. Time to do it now. This is really the last chance you're gonna have here. Oh. Blankenship had a little check up there, but that caused Barry to check up there. Either way, great battle here by these drivers. Making things exciting for us. Cortanic's going to come through in 7th. Tim's going to come through in 10th. We'll see what happens here. Turn 1 mayhem coming up. All right, that's our turn 1 pile up that we do here. So let's be right back. And we will get our interviews on. All right, so let me make sure that everything is set up correctly here. And I switched it back to a replay from earlier so that we can actually see some of the cars. And we'll get Chris Hill up here. There he is. Hey, Chris, this is Matt up in the booth. Got a copy?
Hey Matt, how's it going?
Good. Well, how about you? You started P1. You didn't make it easy for yourself.
No kidding.
But you had like a mega lap or something on. I knew that you and Darren were gonna like try to undercut one another, one or the other. And
Yeah.
you went long and you did the overcut on him, but you had a mega lap on that one because you came out and you were like 2 seconds ahead. But your pit stops were actually like exactly your time on pit lane was exactly the same. So that was just a mega lap for you.
Yeah, I wonder if also like maybe a little bit into pit lane or something, but who knows? It was heck of a race. I mean, obviously starting off with Steve, getting me on the start, and then really tight battle there for first couple laps, and then unfortunately, I think he must have made a mistake or something and went off there because it next thing you know, he wasn't around, and then it got dark and I missed
Yeah.
my brake marker. I came down turn one and I was like looking for the black sign that I use as my brake marker and I couldn't find it. And so went really quite deep in turn one.
Yeah, and you
Eventually start again.
yeah, you went over those sausage curbs, but it wasn't too bad, I guess. You might have felt it in the wheel, but you kept it going, and it didn't slow you down too much. You're able to get back up there.
Yeah, it was definitely quite the thing for a while there. I mean, Darren kind of pulled away, and I think really once our tires got a little more worn, his must have fallen off a little bit more than mine or something because finally I was able to start reeling them in some,
Yeah,
and
it was for a
it
while
was
there. It was about two
quite the work
seconds.
to get back to him.
Yeah. Um,
So
well, great job. But again, yeah, your pit stop was, exactly the same as his. So I think you did it. I was wondering if you were going to end up, both of you going to end up taking that, the pit lane at the same lap. And then you were going to if that happened and you were in second and you were both going in the pit lane, I think, you'd had to slow up for him and to run into him coming into that pit lanes. But that didn't happen. And just the whole
yeah.
overcut worked out for you. Hey, any shout outs, any, obviously sponsors, we know about sponsors, but always good to hear from them, from you.
For sure. Well, yeah, definitely. Obviously, always thanking the wife. Hopefully, she's tuned in tonight and watching. And if not, well, it's all good.
Yeah.
Obviously, she supports me on this though, which is, I always say it every week, but I really do appreciate her support in my hobby, my fun,
Yep.
and of course, I always have to mention the Precision Racing Instruction, which is our private instruction business. Actually, just got back from a weekend up at Laguna Seca, having a great time with a couple students with their Porsches. Had a great time with them and helped them out a bunch. And even did a coaching session recently, also with Barry too, which I definitely have to give a shout out to Barry, by the way, because he put together a setup which I borrowed, and that thing was on rails. So that definitely helped me get to the front of the field this week and such. But it was a pleasure working with him also a little bit and helping him get a little farther forward in the field and yeah. So anybody who's out there looking to improve on the track or in sim or whatever, just look us up on either Facebook or Instagram, and Precision Racing Instruction is the name. So yeah.
Sounds good. So, hey, before you go, next week is going to be Homestead, Roval. I'm not
Oh,
sure
that'll be
which
interesting.
variant of it is. There's one that runs the oval turn 3 and 4. There's another one that I kind of prefer a little bit better that doesn't have that turn 3 and 4, and you go through this interior section. But yeah, it's actually a really good. It's probably one of my favorite of the Rovals. Like there's Indianapolis Road Course is a good one, but Homestead's a really good Roval. Have you not driven it before, or?
I've been there in real life of all things. I haven't actually played around with it, I don't think, in the sim. I'm actually not even certain if I have it in the sim yet. But I've been there. I've been there in real life doing. We did a M-Track Days event there. I don't know, back 3 or 4 years ago or something like that. And yeah, I got a chance to kind of play around with both of those. So it should be interesting to see how it is in the sim, and I think it'll be quite an interesting one to play around with. Something I don't think we've done yet for any of
No, I don't think we
our
have.
rounds. So that should be pretty fun. So
Well, sounds
yeah, definitely
good.
looking
But
forward to
yeah,
something new.
it's a really good one. So I think you'll enjoy it. So we'll talk to you next week. But good to see you getting another win out here.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
See you
I'll
next
talk
week.
to you. See ya.
All right.
All right, we'll bring up Steve. Hey, Steve, this is Matt up in the booth.
How are you?
Good. Well, tell me about your race. For some reason my
Better.
um,
Yeah, I don't know what I did. I went off turn 5, I think it is, and I don't think I broke too late. I think maybe I missed my turn in, and the left front tire locked up. I felt like I had good pace tonight. I mean, I'm just looking at it now. I mean, I lost 7 seconds on that lap, and I was 7 seconds out of the lead, at the end. So I mean, pretty much it was right there, and I think I took it. It took me about 5 laps to get back through all the traffic, so it took a bit of time, but yeah, we definitely had some good pace and threw it away there on the second lap. It's a shame.
yeah, it even so you kind of I don't know, maybe outbraked yourself, or did your actual brakes lock up or something in that
Yeah,
corner?
the front tire locked up. Like I said, I think I just missed the apex, so I made a late turn, had it steer more. I had to give it more wheels, so the inside tire was just turning more than it should, normally was,
Yeah.
and didn't make the corner. I honestly, I didn't feel comfortable with that corner. You know, in any session we've done here, and actually that one and the one I don't even know the number at the top of the hill. Maybe it's 9 before the intermediate straight there.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
really
I
didn't
think it's
just
9.
didn't feel great in either of those corners, and I thought I was tiptoeing around him, but obviously not enough.
Well, even Chris had some issues with those. He went off, but I guess where he did it wasn't quite as bad as like
Yeah,
where you did it. You almost did go into the wall there, so it's a good
yeah,
thing you didn't. I thought you did the first time I looked at it, but we saw it on replay that
yeah. Aside from the lost time, it was just being in traffic. I think I was in 7th at that point.
yeah.
Doing it on lap 2, everybody's still all bunched up, so nobody's gonna obviously let me by. It's just they're still racing for the spot. So yeah, it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, well, it always makes it exciting with one of you guys ends up going off and you have to come back up through the field. I'm always watching for that to see what you guys could do, and it's good entertainment for us. And so, hey, next week, I'm curious of your thoughts on this one. Is we're going to Homestead Roval of some sort. I'm not sure. It doesn't say on the schedule. It just says Homestead Miami.
Yeah.
Have you driven any of those Rovals there before?
I've seen Homestead Oval on TV in NASCAR. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
They-
about all I know about it. I didn't know there was an oval there, but
They have. I actually, and I was telling Chris this. I'll tell everybody that I'm interviewing here, but it is actually a really good roval.
okay.
It's got like 2 hairpins.
Yeah.
There is an option. There's actually 2 versions of it. One of them actually takes the oval 3 and 4,
Mhm.
but another one of them like cuts back down through the interior of the
If it
course.
means anything to you, I just heard the guy say, I think we're running B.
Okay, well, I don't remember which one is which,
Okay.
so it could be really interesting. It'll be definitely a change of pace, so that'll
Well,
be.
so as much as I don't know the track, I'm fairly optimistic as I don't think it's a much used circuit. So I don't think the other guys probably know it either. So we're probably all in the same boat.
Yeah, Rafa, who he's not running anymore here
Yeah.
because he's been really busy, but I think he used to run it in real life a lot.
Oh, okay.
So it would have been one of his home tracks, I think.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he's not around. Maybe he'll come back around for next week. But we should mention it to him.
Yeah.
Hey, any shout outs, any sponsors, things like that?
Yeah, so I almost didn't make the race tonight. My wife was out and rushed home for me. We I jumped in qualifying about halfway there. So
Mm,
thanks to her getting back in time. That was that was awesome. Rick's Flicks, VRG, and then our league sponsors who make these broadcasts possible: SEO Mike, Beltway Brew Company, Treakle Insurance, and who's the other guy? Hagerty Insurance.
that's right. Yep. All right. Well, we'll see you next week at Homestead.
All right, thanks, brother.
Yep. See ya. Okay, we got to figure out. I'm pretty sure that I had something mess up here. I went back in time, so we need to bring up Darren here. Might not have the replays like we usually do, though, but I'll bring it. Hey, Darren, this is Matt up in the booth. How's it going?
Good, Matt. How you doing?
Good. Well, some action there at the front. You saw yourself head into the lead. You started fourth, and so getting into the lead there at that moment, well, for a good chunk of the race, had to feel pretty good. But somewhere in that pit stop, Chris did like a heck of a in lap, I think, or like an overcut lap, and somehow your pit stops were exactly the same in timing, at least according to my timing and scoring. Your pit lane time exactly the same. So somewhere
Right.
in that lap that he did, he was able to pull a pretty good gap on you. You were bringing it down at the end, about a second and 1.2 seconds, but
Yeah, yeah.
otherwise, tell me about your race.
No, well, started fourth, outside second row, and kind of fell in behind Steve and Chris, and I was just kind of hanging out. The car was good. I was just gonna kind of hang out there on their bumper and watch them battle a little bit, and maybe stick my nose in there a little bit when I can and could, and take advantage of anything that might happen. And then Steve kind of went off there. I don't remember which turn. I know the turn. I don't know the number, but he went off, and so that left me behind Chris, chasing him on my own. I was like, well, dang. Now I've got to push it a little bit more. And then Chris made a mistake going into turn one, which allowed me by. And I was like, well, dang again. Now I'm in the lead. So, and actually, the car was really good, and I was able to pull out like a 2-second gap. Maybe in some cases it was a little bit more. And then I made a mistake. I don't know which. I don't know the turn number, but going into that middle straight there, that fast right-hander as you're coming up the hill, took a little too much of the green mat, and the car went sideways. So that allowed Chris to get right up on me, probably within like a half a second. And then, I went into the pits. I was going at a pretty good clip, I thought, and I didn't think it was a terrible pit stop. I didn't really practice them a whole lot. The pit entry. The pit entry was further down from where I was expecting it to be. But
Oh, is that what it was then?
I just wanted to make sure that I at least didn't, get caught speeding in the pits. But
well, that's I would say that's the most important thing is to not get caught speeding.
But when I came out of the pits, I came out right behind Dean. So I got held up for just the first few corners there, right after the pit stop, and which kind of threw me off a little bit as far as being able to run my normal line, and maybe that was and my lap wasn't the cleanest, my out lap, so maybe all of it in combination just was enough.
Well, either way, you were, like every week here, we've got you, Steve, and Chris. Stefan's in this group now too, but you guys are always, your best laps are within a tenth of one another, always. So, and we've got these open setups now, so even with that, you'd think, like that would spread out a little bit. Maybe there's a chance it would anyway, but everybody's keeping it really close here, and I know you're wanting to get a win here. So next
Getting
week,
a little closer, Matt.
yeah, next week, and I've already told the Chris and Steve this, and I'll be curious on your thoughts about it. We're going to Homestead Miami Speedway. So this will be, there's 2 Rovals there. Maybe you don't even know, because I don't even think Chris or Steve knew about this, but I actually do know them. They're pretty good. Probably like other than like Daytona Roval and Indianapolis road there, kind of for a NASCAR speedway. They're pretty cool road courses that like sports cars run over there. But have you run them before?
I've never run them, but I will say that the SCCA goes there every year in the real world. They go there. That's usually the first race in January is Homestead. So I've not been there. I've watched several real life videos because I like
Mhm.
watching the videos from the races that guys post when they're there. So I've seen that, via video. I've never driven it. I don't know. I assume is it a free track? Because I don't even own it if it's not a
I
free
don't. I
track.
don't think it's a free track. I believe.
Yeah.
But it is a really cool track. And I think you guys are gonna like it. Scott might have the thought to put it at night, but it does have the oval has lights, but the interior road course does not have lights.
Right.
So
Right.
we'll see what he ends up doing. But um, I guess we'll. I think everybody's going to be purchasing a track here next week.
I
So
believe so.
iRacing's going to be happy about this one.
Yeah, they're gonna make a little bit on this one.
Looking at the schedule, I think this is the only like really different kind of track we've got. Because we're going to be heading back to like Mid Ohio and Road Atlanta the rest of the season. Interlagos is going to be a good one. That'll be the 11th race on the schedule. But yeah, this Homestead Miami is going to be different. But I think all you guys are going to really enjoy it. And I guess everybody's going to be even playing ground, is what I'd have to say, because sounds like everybody's going to be new with it.
Yeah, it sounds like no one has it,
Yeah.
or has driven it. So yeah.
Hey, so any final shout outs, sponsors, that kind of thing? Anybody watching?
Just the usual shout outs to my insurance agency, Treakle Insurance Agency. We partner with Hagerty. They provide what they call paddock coverage to provide coverage for your race car while you're towing it or it's at home in storage or whatever. And then, of course, I want to throw a shout out to Sten at Beltway Brewery and SEO Mike for helping out as well. And then, of course, for you to do them and do the live broadcasts, and Scott for setting up the races.
Sounds good. Well,
Yeah.
thanks you for sponsoring these, and we'll see you
Glad
back
to
next
do it.
week.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Take care.
You too. All right. Well, I think we're bringing Dean up here. Brought the wrong guy up here. Hey, Dean, this is Matt up in the booth. I think you're the 7th place car.
I think so, Matt. There's some debate about that, but I'll take it for this week.
Yeah, I mean, well, my timing scoring after the race kind of went funky, so I was like, wait a minute, who's who? And so I had to check back, and my data was a little bit messed up, and because I thought Colin was finishing in 7th, and then I suddenly saw you there. So tell me about your race, and hopefully I got your name correct this week.
Oh, you probably did. I'm sure Scott's changing my name in the Discord is helpful. Yeah, the race. This is a tricky track, especially when Scott throws in the darkness on us.
That's
So
right.
we practice and qualify in the light, and then as the race starts, we go into dark, and all of our braking points go away. So yeah, I mean, at the beginning it was pretty tight. Then those guys at the front pull away, and Colin and Brian got a little bit out in front of me. So I had a pretty clean race, at least for space the whole time. Made a few mistakes. That chicane is pretty tricky. You mess that up, and you can go off pretty
Oh,
quick. So then at the end, Colin was in 7th, and he cut the last chicane, so he had a slowdown penalty, but he couldn't clear it before the finish line.
Ah, okay.
So he got the black flag and got dropped back to 12th because of that.
Wow. Well, so that I was watching a couple different battles, and then then I'm like, wait a minute. So that's what wound you up in that position. So well, that's a really good. You get the special interview this week. Hey, tell me what you know about SEO Mike.
So SEO Mike's a good friend of mine. He's out in Kansas City area. So I started iRacing. I kept sending him the links for the feeds, and he watched all the time. So last season, when we were only airing every other week, I approached him and said, "Hey, would you mind sponsoring so we can air this every week?" And he said, "Heck yeah! Tell me where to send the check." So he signed up pretty quick. I threw, well, let's just say that I've been kind of egging him on from the beginning because I've been throwing SEO Mike on my car for a couple seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I kept sending him the picture of my car, like 2 seasons later, I approached him for sponsorship. So it worked.
Sounds good. Well, I was curious your story behind that because I knew you were running the SEO Mike car. It's not CEO Mike, although he might be CEO Mike, but it's SEO Mike, and everybody
Yeah,
can check
search
him out.
engine.
SEOMike.com. It's really good to have another sponsor here in the series. Hey, so same question I asked everybody else. Do you know anything about Homestead Miami Speedway?
I do not. It's
Well,
gonna be
we're going there
interesting.
next week, and nobody else has any idea either. So I think you're on even playing ground.
All right. Well, I didn't know anything about Barcelona. I want to give a big shout out to Barry because he did the setup for this week, and a lot of people were using it. It was very stable. So the work he put in this whole week to give us a nice stable setup made the racing tonight pretty awesome.
Very cool. Well, Barry got some good play time on the screen this week. He was battling it out with a few drivers, so he had a really good week this week as well. So good to see you up here in that 7th spot, and get practicing with that Homestead Miami. I'll just tell you, there's a NASCAR course down there, although IndyCar ran it in the past too, but they have a road course version of it that I think maybe I think Darren was saying SCCA does it from time to time, but different series run it from time to time. But it is a really good course in my opinion. It has a couple hairpin corners, like really hard braking zones. I think it's going to have really good racing. So make sure to study up on it.
Should be really fun. Before I take off here, I'll give a shout out to Treakle Insurance with Hagerty and SEO Mike and of course Beltway Brewing as I'm drinking a beer from them right now. Really appreciate all the sponsorships. And big shout out to you, Matt, for commentating every week and doing a great job.
Thank you. Well, I hope to maybe one day I'll get one of my own Beltway Brewing Company. get a few of those myself, but it's gonna have to be shipped to me, so I don't know how that'll work.
You just got to pull Stan into the broadcast feed and pimp him that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I feel like I've talked to him before, but that might have been before he was a sponsor in this series. But anyway, you have a good week there, Dean, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, Matt.
Yep. All right, well, final results here. Actually forgot to do this in a previous broadcast, the one I did last night. Didn't forget it this week. For you guys, Chris Hill there in P1, Darren Treakle P2, Steve Ficacci P3, Peter Lanik in P4, Stefan Vapa P5, Brian Kennedy P6, Dean Tulane in P7, Aspen Belvin P8, Scott Kim P9. Bobby Blankenship had a great battle with Barry Bocaner there right at the end, but Bobby holds it off and comes in P10. Barry there P11. Colin Kortanek, as you heard it, had that big penalty right at the end. Basically, you get a slowdown penalty. You have to slow down, basically, for 2 or 3 seconds before you cross the start-finish line. And if you don't, you will go back, I don't know, a lap or something like that. And that's what happened to Colin there. Tough break. Stephen Tenney there in P13. Jason Brannon. I said Jason before. Jesse Brannon, P14. Perry Duncan, P15. And winding out our field, Yakov Bielik, early retirement there in P16. So take care, everybody. We'll be back next week for Homestead. I'm looking forward to that one. I don't know if everybody else is looking forward to it, but we'll be here same time, same place, 8:15 Thursdays every week. And that'll be a 40-minute race, I think. So we'll see you then.